Welcome to Hatched, Idea to Impact. I'm Jenna Devenport.
And I'm Dustin McMahon. This is a podcast where we sit down with people behind successful businesses to unpack their journey.
The lessons, the setbacks, the mindset, and what shaped them along the way. Real conversations about what it actually takes. Let's get into it.
All right, and to get started, we thought it's going to be best for us to get together and just get to know each other a bit better. Going to be interested to see if we find out a few new things about each other. But I guess to start with, where do you grow up?
Grew up in the lovely suburb of Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide girl through and through. Family of Crows supporters, except for Grandad though. So I followed in that footpath and have stayed true.
Beautiful, good spot to be.
What about yourself?
So I grew up down south, a little place called Yundi, which is halfway between Wollonga and Mount Compass. A lot of people just know it. They drive past Protea World, that's about it. Went to school at Mount Compass up until year 9 and then moved to Wollonga and finished school there.
What happened for you post-school?
Post-school, where do I start? So I moved to Melbourne. At the time I'd worked for a company, Spotless, around Adelaide, working different events like Clipsal, show and stuff like that. So I went across to Melbourne with the plan of travelling Australia. Got to Melbourne, worked the Grand Prix. After working the Grand Prix, I got asked to stay and work at the MCG for the next for a football season. So hung around there for a bit. Then after that, once the footy season finished, went up to Queensland and worked on the islands there and just behind a bar.
So broking hasn't always been a thing for you then.
No.
So we've got some interesting background. Tell us about your journey into broking.
I guess journey into broking first started when I was about 21. I was working in real estate, had about 6 months working for a real estate company. Had a mobile banker from one of the major lenders come out to see us. And I was sat talking with him and sort of telling him how I wanted to structure it, and I felt like I probably understood it more than he did. So from there, decided it was a job I wanted to get into, and rather than real estate. I think they're on similar sort of transaction, dealing with people in the same sort of process, but just enjoyed the figures more. Maths has always been my strong point, so haven't looked back. Yourself, how did you get into it?
So after school, I went to uni, and I had always, for as long as I could remember, wanted to be a lawyer, a naval lawyer at that. The Navy didn't pan out because of knee injuries. I blame JAG, the TV show. They made naval law look so cool. And not having a HECS deck looked really good as well, even if I was giving 4 years service post that. But went into law, and the first year just wasn't what I wanted it to be. It was very book-based, not...
Couldn't see that. Argumentative.
But it was just more so, I think I'd always had a passion for working with people, and law just didn't have that. It was very much, you're behind the paperwork all the time. Went to take a gap year, and my mum thought that was the worst thing, and even though I was an adult, I just did what mum said and picked a different degree, and that was banking and international finance. And at the time I was working at the casino as a croupier.
Probably couldn't have been a lawyer if you couldn't even convince your mum to have a gap year.
But that's exactly right. Probably not my best trait. But essentially I did banking and international finance, but I was working at the casino at the time and fell in love with working with people. I also thought finance was going to be too boring for me. So I actually swore against the industry for quite some time. Obviously, I've found my way back here. Broking wasn't a thing I knew about. When I thought about working in finance, it was about crunching numbers and sitting behind a computer. And then I kind of stepped through a few things and found broking. And now I get the opportunity to work with people, and I have a great team behind me that do the bulk of the number crunching, and I get to be the face of the business.
So where'd you go to school?
Mount Carmel, so it's Rosewater, Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
Primary and high school.
Did it take much to actually venture down Port Road, or?
It did. It did take me a little while. I'm now, reasonably out of Port Adelaide. Yep. I'd say south, but you don't think it's south. But yes, no, my heart is always in Port Adelaide. I've played sport down there, still got mates down there, and still very much love Port Power.
Sport?
Yes.
What sport? What sport do you play, or what sport haven't you played?
No sport anymore. I have retired due to copious amounts of injuries.
Thank God.
My business partner loves that I'm not risking it anymore. So basketball was my main sport as a kid, but I was good at sports, and then I had to make choices between basketball and swimming. Mum was like, you've got to pick. We can't keep doing both of these at this level. So I went on with basketball. I was actually asked to go over to America for a college, recruitment camp, and then that's when I did my knee for the first time, which stopped college basketball in the States and also stopped the Navy for me. So that was pretty big at 16, when everything you've worked for then kind of gets uprooted and you've got to realign when you're not actually an adult. So very pivotal moment, and had a little hiatus from sport with a little toys out the pram tanty. Obviously found my way back, and then later years in life I got coerced to AFL footy when it became a thing for women to be able to play, and captained Lockleys Footy Club, still a treasurer there at the club, so I'm retired but I'm still there. And very proudly, as you know, we sponsor that football club as well.
I also had a hiatus from sport as well. I think as a kid I always played soccer up until 18. I went to England playing with the squad. 6 months before that, I'd done my knee.
What?
Had a clean out on my knee, and then when we were in England, hurt it again. So probably, I hadn't described it as toys out the cot, but sort of find that once you've done a recovery and then you hurt it again, you sort of get a bit beside yourself. So I had 6 years without playing anything, just travelling Australia, and then decided to get back into it and still playing soccer, or trying to. I think I got about 4 games last year, and we'll see how this year goes.
And how many retirements have you had, Dusty?
Probably one, but I had a retirement year that it was going to be my last year, and then did my ACL, which then sort of meant that I almost felt like I had unfinished business, so it keeps me going back. And hopefully, down at the Southern Knights, been there for, I think it's 15 years now, got life membership last year, which was a pretty big thing. And hopefully some a good season coming, but we'll see how it goes. It's always this time of year you're hopeful, but I think it's sort of looking good at the moment. And once again, sponsor them as well. We seem at Finance Nest try and sponsor as much as we can and support our local clubs. And
it's probably a good segue around our community partnerships. So we do, sponsor a few sporting clubs and various different players in different sports, but we also have another community that's important to us. Do you want to talk us through 100 for Our Homeless?
So Peter Bard Adam, one of our brokers, has got the 100 for Our Homeless. He gives $100 to charity every time a loan settles. As a group, we thought it was a great incentive, so we've decided to jump on board as well and do that. For every loan that settles, $100 gets given to a charity of the client gets to choose that. It's around the homelessness is obviously why it's 100 for Our Homeless. So that was just something that we feel like we want to leave a footprint. I think that sort of we're not just helping people get in homes that can afford it, but also helping people that are homeless. So I think that's a big one to us. That a lot of community and stuff like that. So
I think for me too, when Pete brought it to us. So my mum has, worked for years and years and years as a social worker with homeless people, trying to get them from the street into housing, get them the help that they need. So, it's something that's close to my family's hearts, and so being able to have the opportunity to contribute to that, even now mum's retired, is something really special.
We've probably skipped over a bit there because we've gone to what we support and that, but I guess how do we get to the finance nest?
I still ask myself that every day. How did I get here? Yeah. So I guess probably going through my journey probably talks through how we met. So I did start with Aussie Home Loans. Had a franchise there with them, very successful franchise, but then made the decision to go back as a mobile broker, kind of remove some of the overheads that went with it. And then I guess I'd kind of outgrown that franchise component and made the move away. I wasn't quite ready at that point to start my own brand. So I took a less regulated franchise and came across to Nectar, which is where we kind of crossed paths. Sitting there talking to another broker that was going to help me in the transition over, and in you walked. Yeah. With your Macquarie accreditation.
Yeah, well, so Matt didn't have the Macquarie accreditation, and that was apparently all you were going to write. So
yep.
We sort of decided that it's probably better I'd help you.
It's not all that, it's just what I was going to write at that time.
I don't think we saw a Macquarie one anyway.
I don't think we did. But I think we worked out pretty quickly. We were very similar, very driven, and I guess similar stories in terms of dodgy knees and multiple retirements and just the will to keep going.
Yeah, and it's sort of been interesting, hasn't it? We were there for, 3 or 4 years, and then decided that we wanted to make something ourselves that we could sort of shape the way we wanted it. The Finance Nest, we'd set up the office previously, and we just thought we'd call that the Nest, so it just worked that we called it the Finance Nest. And I guess it ties into why this is called Hatched, and the Finance Nest is we sort of really want to be a bit of a hub for teaching other brokers and giving back a bit to the industry, I guess. And I think the brokers underneath us is to be able to support and mentor them is good. So
our brokers at the moment, we're at 4 qualified brokers. We've got 2 in their traineeship, apprenticeship phase, and then we've got our admin support team. What's the most exciting thing for you about teaching these brokers?
When I started 15 years ago, I sort of didn't go into that. I bought a business, but I went out on my own. I didn't know anything about doing a loan. I didn't know anything about marketing or dealing with anyone really in the industry. So I had to go and try and work it out myself, and I've failed a lot. So I think it's good to just have people new to the industry when they come in, being able to show them and hold their hand, I guess, and almost do a proper, we've got Dylan and Ben now that are coming in, and as what I'd say a true trainee role is. So they're not just going out trying to run their own business. It's going to be slowly teaching them every element. We were talking about it earlier about getting them qualified and how much support they're going to learn from us, so that when they are ready to go out on their own, they really know what they're doing, and we're still there to support them. So I think that's big for me, is to give people a better platform to get into the industry.
I think, similar for me, it was sink or swim, and you kind of learnt by your failings. You made a mistake, and then you went, wow, I don't want to make that mistake again. That wasn't nice. Yeah. So that, having that mentorship behind you. But I guess for us, we've kind of done both methods, haven't we? We've had new to industry brokers walk in commission only, and, we've had to teach them how to source work as well as, write the loans. And I think my biggest takeaway from it is moving away from that model to then go, let's actually do this as an apprenticeship. And I think that's, we're seeing a lot more of it in the industry, and I hope that that's where we head overall, that doing that apprenticeship is where you're going to really get your knowledge. Learning the back end first and then rolling through, it just makes sense.
I think it's I've sort of, over the last couple of years, really been big on it because we're seeing it a lot in real estate. You see these team groups where they work in a group and you've got your principal agent that's doing the main stuff and teaching people underneath them, but they're sort of chasing stuff up. I think it's very similar, and I think why wouldn't it work in broking and give people a lot better chance at long-term success. So.
Well, you don't know what you don't know, but if you've spent time working behind the people that know things, you kind of pick it up and learn what you need to be talking about and what you're trying to avoid as issues, don't you?
All right, so we've touched on business and how we got here in the finance nest and that, but what about your family?
Yeah, so I have a beautiful partner and 3 children. Fortunate enough to have a daughter of my own and 2 stepchildren that just bring a whole nother element of love into our lives. So for us, weekends are full of sports, and Lexi's got a job as well, so we're running around between things. But
swimming pool.
We do have a swimming pool, so it's been a summer of pool life, which is just horrendous. It's terrible. I don't know how we cope. As a group, we value time spent the most. So weekends for us are around getting quality time together. So everything we do within our business is around building out that life that we want and value the most. And your family?
I'd touch on your pool for you because you've just done an excellent extension or renovation and that. Shout out to Jimmy Ricard at Raw Structures. Yep. So I've got little Daphne, just over 2, beautiful wife Sally, and then got my 2 older kids, Brooke and Campbell. So for us, we're down Port Noarlunga South, so life's very much about the beach for us and sort of outdoors. Got the camper trailer that we like to try and get away with.
Was that an upgrade from the tent? Or
the tent that never got used. I think it's a storage tent now. I bought Sour tent, and then all of a sudden she wanted a camper trailer, so we got that. That's been good though, to get away and just sort of, whenever we can, hitch it up and take off to where we can, and where there's no algae bloom. But travel's probably, I'd say it's the biggest thing to us. Like I sort of have a bit of a motto that we're only put on this earth for a short time, so I want to see as much of it as I can while I'm here.
Yes.
Got a couple of trips planned this year.
We do.
Regular trip back to Bali, and then off to the World Cup. Mm-hmm. Got my tickets for that, for the Australia game, sent through a couple of days ago, which is getting pretty exciting. And then we've got a conference coming up later in the year to New Zealand. So I think I've got my travel booked for this year.
New Zealand's probably a good example of, we've got a work trip, but we're blending that, and we will have time with our families over there before we go into conference. Yeah. Before is what we're doing. We actually haven't spoken. I assume we're going both at the same time. But, that's that great element of what we do, isn't it? Where we get to balance and we talk a lot about work hard, play hard. And so that travel component is part of that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It's a good life. It's definitely, quite balanced. I think it takes a while to get to that point. But, the balance is definitely there, and I think that's also, if go and think back to the sort of supporting brokers, it's being able to support our brokers around us to have that balance as well, because when it's earlier on for them, it's a lot harder to take time out, so we try and encourage them to have some time to themselves, and we'll jump into their deals and support them. So I think for me, I work to live. I don't live to work. So, and I also enjoyed the job. So happy to go in, and it doesn't feel like too much of a chore. So
Balance is an interesting one in our industry, isn't it? And I feel like, we do a lot better at it now, but it's always something you've got to be mindful about. I think it's something that is very easy to give everything and live to work in our roles. How have you managed boundaries and expectations and keeping that elusive balance happening?
Mine sort of over time has come naturally. I mean, like it's sort of evolved itself. I think probably moving away from doing appointments at home and stuff, like at people's houses, I think moves it more to it being online or that people can make time during the day rather than any hour of the day. Also just for life balance is keeping, like if we're not sort of spending time on ourselves to get to a good spot, I think it reflects in your work and you're much more stressed and you're not fully present for your customers at times. So I think that's important to look at.
Here's an interesting question for you.
Here we go.
Throw this one at you.
Yeah.
So when we started, and we talk a lot about this with our new brokers and trainees, you've got to work hard to earn the right to kind of come and go. We were out evening appointments, weekends, doing those things, which we don't really do now. And so for me, I go, yes, COVID changed a lot, teams, etc. Do you think new brokers still need to be out pushing hard and not have the boundaries that we have now? Or could you be successful 9 to 5 starting out today?
It's an interesting one. I think you still got to grind. I mentioned before that I started probably before I was finance. I worked in real estate and I did a system. It was called the Gemman system, and a part of that was the first 3 months I was in the office. All I did was prospecting. So I had to make 50 calls a day, 50 contacts with people. So you'd be out door knocking, you'd be calling, you'd just go through those people and then once you got through the list, you'd start again. Every day you were going in and just passing on leads to other people. We all want stuff before we put in the time to get it.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification. It's almost like the, what do you call them, PayPal or something like that. It's like I want it, but it's sort of, I'm not willing to put in the work. So I think the grind has to be there. Whether it's still the same grind, I think things have evolved, but you've still got to put in the work and you've got to be really hungry for it, because if you're not, someone else will be. So.
And I think that's big as we move into a digital space and for you and I and experienced brokers, we've got connections and referral partnerships and we've got runs on the board. For me, I think now it's more critical for brokers coming through to be available and ready, because if you're not responding in a couple of minutes, then they're off to the next Instagram or TikTok or whatever ad they've seen. They're going to go to who responds first, right?
It's always, look, I always liken it. I hate it, but I'm also guilty of it. If I go online to buy something, if I can't find out a price or what it is now, I go to the next ad and I look for it there until I can buy it. I'm not going to wait for someone that they might get back to me in an hour, but I can find another one in 2 minutes. Why would I wait? So unfortunately we're subject to that. So you find if you're not hot on people, then they're going to go somewhere else. For new brokers, if they're working with agents and stuff like that, where I am now is not where I was then, and I'd still be making myself available to people to go, rightio, send me a message, give me a call on the weekend if you need figures worked out, be there, be present, and you can wind back on that down the track, and I guess we'd just pass it to our other brokers if we're not available. But I think you've definitely still got to expect to grind. It's not going to be easy to just come in and do the job, because
but it is worth it in the end.
It's well worth it. What do I say to everyone? It's a career, not a job.
Yes, you do. Every interview.
You don't come in thinking that you're going to do it in 2 years, but what your career looks like in 5 years is going to be amazing.
So we've talked a bit about the journey, and we've talked a bit about the grind, and we've come through that, and we're in a sweet spot now. If you look back on your career as a broker, and you've said earlier before that you've learnt from making mistakes, if you could talk to young broker Dustin and give one piece of advice that could have put you on a faster path to success, what would that be?
It's interesting because when I bought my business, the guy was leaving the industry, and he said to me his best advice would be that he thinks I should have a business partner to go into it with. At the time I was, I guess naive. I didn't know sort of anything about it. And I sort of went, like it was just myself. I didn't really have anyone that I'd think about going in a partnership with, but in hindsight, I think if I look at it's 15 years, I've been essentially up until a year and a half ago, I was running my business by myself. We were doing a bit side by side, sort of parallel. I think Tatey, we asked him what he thought and about us running two businesses parallel rather than being together, and I think his response was, you can't be half pregnant, which I think has always resonated with us. But I think in hindsight, it would have been great for me early on to have someone else I was in partnership with, because it just meant when you talk about those holidays, or really for 13 years, I probably didn't have a day off, because you're even when you go on holidays, you still have to spend 2 hours a day checking emails, returning calls, making sure loans are progressing. Whereas now that we've got each other and we've got a team behind us, we can actually switch off because there's people there to do it for us. So I think that's probably the biggest one I would have done. What about yourself? What would you... There's an obvious one you probably can't say on here, but...
Well, I kind of am compelled now to say business partner, right? Oh. No, I do think having a business, and I had one before, and not bad business partners at all, but just all at different stages in our life. So in my franchise, we had 3 different generations, and all on very different paths. Whilst that ended nicely, it ended because we weren't headed in the same direction. So, and I think that's probably the thing. And when we first started talking about partnering, I was hesitant because, if things don't align, but having those frank conversations up front about where we're going and what we want, and, heads of agreement, all of those, building out your partnership agreements so that everything is clear is pretty crucial. And, we've seen it a lot, since we've had the finance nest, that from the day that we invested in us, we have grown. And we've had the additional benefits of being able to take leave and actually switching off, which is not something either of us have ever had before. Sometimes we might take it too far and have more holidays than the other one.
Unplanned leave as well,
but we make it work.
Injuries come up, don't they? Coming like the finance nest, I think like the support we've had from LMG is just incredible as well. Like I think that we wouldn't have been on this path without their support coming in, and just anything we need, we've got, like from recruitment to business coaching to counsellors is all there. But I think, with our partnership, I always say to everyone, I don't think we've had an argument yet, or if we did, I won it, so I don't remember it. So
you won it because no one understood what you were saying.
We talked about the pool before. So what's the favourite drink?
Oh, so we have a Ninja slushie.
Yeah.
It's the pina colada all day. Yeah. So about the pool, yes, we did go through a large renovation, or addition actually. So in our backyard we've added in a pool room with a nice little alfresco and a beautiful pool area. And yeah, the team at Raw Structures, fantastic. And, you know, they did our office fit out, we refer clients to them, and lucky enough they did a massive renovation in 8 weeks. Couldn't be happier, but yes,
Bit of a deadline.
we did put them on a deadline so that we could have the Christmas party there. The pina colada slushie is the favourite, but obviously adapting to pool life and not having glass by the pool, you know, life changes.
Real world problems. You were saying before that you've got a couple of cartons of stone and wood there that you can't drink because it's in glass.
Yeah. And I don't want to drink it out of a plastic tumbler. That's, you know, too old for that stuff now.
Do you like to cook? Yeah.
I do. I love cooking. The kitchen is my happy place. It's one of the few places that my head actually switches off. In the kitchen and doing a jigsaw puzzle are the 2 times my mind is quiet. Homemade gnocchi is the kids' favourite for sure. Ruth will tell you she can't pick her favourite of what I cook. But lately the barbecue, the spit and platters are going mental in the house because we've got the pool. What about you?
I'd say cooking used to be one of my happy places. Now not so much with an OCD wife because I just put everything away at the end. She puts everything away as I'm cooking it and using it, so it's not as relaxing as it used to be. But no, I still enjoy getting in and cooking. I like doing a bit of a sort of creamy pasta with sun-dried tomatoes and pine nuts and stuff is probably my favourite.
You've got the pizza oven at home?
A pizza oven as well. That's that's probably our showpiece for when people come over and fire up the pizzas, and probably I'd like to do it more than Sourwood. Once again, she gets left with the mess.
So family time's important to you. You know, the business and where we're headed is great, but what excites you most about your business journey coming up?
I think just the continual growth, and like at the moment just seeing our numbers are growing, which is great, but it's the support and the staff that we've got at the moment. It seems, even though we are busy, things are comfortable. And I shouldn't say that. I'll say touch wood because it'll probably break something. But I just feel, watching that the growth and how it's getting more and more sustainable, and that is probably what I'm really liking. What about yourself?
For me, you know, as much as I'm loving the growth of the team, stepping back from writing as many loans probably excites me, and looking at building that team more. So taking our years and years of experience and actually managing that team in a more effective way as we build, I think is where I'm excited.
Yeah, I think watching people come up and sort of learn the industry, it's great to watch them. It's
been a big shift, and I think brokers, you know, we have reasonably large egos and like to be, you know, in shining lights, but as I've gotten older and as I'm watching our team grow and develop, I want that for them. So it's stepping away from the spotlight a little bit more is actually an exciting thing, and not something I would have thought I would say, you know, 10 years ago. All right, Dusty, so we've been through all things life, personal, journey, school. We've talked about what's exciting us for the future, but what I really want to know now is, who is your inspiration?
I guess everyone's going to say their parents, or most people will. I reckon I'd even go a step further with that. I think like my family all around me is huge inspiration to me. I'd say it'd start with my grandparents. Because especially my nan and pop, they're 3 sisters, 2 brothers. Both the brothers are probably a little disadvantaged. So watching my nana and papa support them through their life. I've got an uncle that couldn't talk or hear. But then at times I say that he probably always say like they'd ask him every day how he was feeling, and he always had a smile on his face. And I reckon if you did when you've had injuries, when they say, "Oh, yep, what's your pain level?" I reckon what you would say is a 7 or an 8 would have been that'd be his starting base level every day. So he was a huge inspiration to me to make me feel that there's always someone worse off. So I'd say, yeah, so that flows through, and I think in my whole family, I think seeing that flows on to my mum and dad, and then from us, it's come down to us with our compassion and that. So, and I see it in my kids as well. So that's probably, yeah, bit of a deep one, but that's probably where all my inspiration comes from, is through my family. Yeah, I'm back at you. What's
We've
yours?
kind of stolen the thunder a little bit, but for me, the family is a big part of it as well. Grandparents didn't have a lot of money, struggled very hard. Mum left school in year 9 to go get a job to help things. So, and then Mum worked a lot of different jobs and always worked hard, multiple jobs at once, and you know, really tried to provide for me. But then once I was kind of nearing school completion, Mum went back to uni to better herself. So that kind of sacrifice to put me first, and then go and do her thing after. But she was always doing the best that she could, and then at the moment that, you know, she was off the hook parenting. She's not. I still ring her for everything. Mummy, help. But it's that kind of sacrifice for your family that is massive. Yeah. Outside of the obvious family things, I always struggle to pick any one particular person. But, you know, you and I both love like reading books and stories, like real human ones. I've just handed on the Neil Danaher one to you. You know, that's, I don't know if you've started that yet, but that's that, and it's similar to what we just spoke about with my, you know, grandparents never really having much, and Mum just striving, and no matter what, finding the good. And I think that's a lot of what I do. I'm a big believer in there's silver linings to every situation. You just got to find it. But you've got to have the right mindset to find it. And that's what, I guess that's that resilience that you need in this job. And that, I think it's a big part of what makes us successful, is what our parents and grandparents modelled to us, is that you don't give up. You keep pushing.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Like, interesting that we've both got very similar for that, because, the struggles that they go through back then was just crazy. Like I think my grandmother had a stroke at, I think it was about 34 and that. So plenty of battles, but they were just always happy. And see, their mum and dad, like, doesn't matter what blows they get, they just look on the bright side of life. So
the Aussie battlers.
Aussie battlers. That's it. Well, if you've listened this far, thank you. It's obviously interested you. We can't wait to bring some guests along, have the same sort of conversations, and
probably just our partners that are still listening.
Probably.
Yeah. Thanks, girls.
Thanks. At least we had 2 listeners. But yeah, thank you very much. We can't wait to be back next month with you and bring you our first special guest. So follow us and wait to see who it is.
Thanks, guys.